That
I forgot to
familiar,
write some lyrics to
I
this.
know, that familiar tune. The show is about to begin.
This is a little ditty called "How Many Amps Did Jamey Buy This Week?"
I have enough. Famous last words. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to Three Guys, One Music. I'm Jamey. As always, I'm here with Mike and Grant. Hello, guys.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. How are you,
Everybody,
Jamey?
sort of. Pretty good. We had some crazy winds that came through here on Friday night. There's trees down, power down.
Well, a third of our state is underwater.
Yeah, I was going to ask is how in your parts of where you live, I don't want to enlighten people too much.
Here wasn't too bad, but another portion of our state is really terrible.
Yeah, the Piedmont didn't get, I mean, we got a lot of rain, but we can't complain. The damage was...
we dodged a bullet.
Yeah. You live in a low-lying area, though. How's your neighborhood?
It was fine.
Really? Oh, cool. Yeah. That's good. That's good to hear.
That's good.
But hearts go out to the people in the western, in the mountains there, and in Tennessee. It's pretty horrible.
Yeah, I saw a post Friday night of Chimney Rock.
Oh,
looked like it was just as devastated as any town.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know, in North Carolina, I think Tennessee has taken the brunt of the flooding and everything, which is awful. But yeah, Chimney Rock looked like it was really devastated, which is, I've driven through that town a few times. I know exactly, there's only one way in and out of town. So
yeah,
you've been there, you've been on that street too.
On the highway, when the major highway that runs the entirety of the United States floods, it's bad.
Yeah.
That would be 40? Supposed to do that. Yep.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. You know, I mean, they kind of warned everyone that this was going to be catastrophic. I think I saw that a few times. So, people who maybe made decisions to not get out. I know maybe it's complicated for some. I don't know.
Yeah, that and there in the mountains, you don't know what to expect because hurricanes usually come from our coast and
they usually are much less strength when they reach up here. You know,
definitely.
And it just surprised everyone and stayed strong and terrible.
Well, yeah, like you said, we wish all those well that
for sure
were affected by this and hope that recovery is swift and people are well. But we're going to be talking today about songs that we consider really, really bad or that we simply don't like. Maybe in my case. So, well, as always, we're going to talk about what we've been listening to this week. I will go first. And I've been listening to, I always am all over the map, but I kind of do, like you guys, narrow it down to a few things that kind of piques my interest most of the time. And one of those recordings is Tom Petty's 1982 release, Long After Dark. And I resisted that record for a long time and didn't think it was up to snuff. And it's got, You Got Lucky was the big hit off of it, which I think is very uncharacteristic. That was the first uncharacteristic song by them. I think You Don't Come Around No More was even more so. But
for sure.
You Got Lucky was, but it's a great song. But that song, that record, that was the third and final Jimmy Iovine produced record. It's really got its own sound. It's dark compared to Hard Promises and Damn the Torpedoes. It's got those are really bright, lively records. This has got a darkness to it, but it's something about it that I really find appealing, and I do like the record. It's become one of my favorites. It might be my favorite Tom Petty record, which is, I never would have thought so. And I've been listening to the 50th anniversary of Apostrophe by Frank Zappa. largely by many people, they think this is his best record. It's not my favorite record. Overnight Sensation is my favorite, but Apostrophe is really, really up there. It's a great record, and I've been enjoying that. And I've been listening to Nick Drake.
Oh yeah,
from '69 and '70s, his first two records. Pink Moon, the '72 release. I've never been a huge fan of that record. I mean, it's got some standout tracks on it, but I really like the debut, Five Leaves Left and Brighter Later. I think those are fantastic records. And
yeah,
when I got into Drake, there's just something really special about the production on those records. I think Joe Boyd produced those, who was the producer for Pink Floyd very early on. So, and I've been listening to Steve Kahn, who was a session guitar player for Billy Joel and a lot of guys, even Steely Dan back in the '70s and '80s. And he has a large discography of solo records, and he's a fine guitar player. And he's actually the son of the lyricist Sammy Kahn, who spelled his name different. So yeah, Steve Kahn, if you've not heard of him, really fine guitar player, and really been enjoying his solo material. So that's what I've been listening to. How about you guys?
Well, I agree with that Tom Petty album. It took a while to grow on me. It was a big departure from his normal sound, what you expected. But yeah, it is a really good album once you give it a listen, give it a chance. It took a while for me, a couple of years before I went back and listened to it. Nick Drake, I can listen to anytime. What a great choice.
I listened to him in the cooler months. He's not an artist that I can listen to, and it's starting to get, this fall is really setting in where I'm currently at, and it felt appropriate, which is sort of silly, but I can't. He's not a summer cheerful artist that I listen to. And he's just not that guy. That's not who I want to listen to. But in the winter months and the fall months, he's like, he's a perennial favorite. I listen to him
maybe on a cool summer day when it's really overcast and raining lightly. It's appropriate.
That's funny. We all have our ideas how to listen to Nick Drake. I'm thinking, warm summer night, you open the sunroof and look at the stars and put on some Nick Drake, and you're driving along the road by yourself.
Yeah, you see that
setting for that.
Yeah.
I have not listened to anything extraordinary this week, anything stand out besides listen to a lot of Lord Huron again, because it's just one of my favorite bands to listen to during the day. But also decided to listen to Robert Plant's solo efforts. His first three albums, I think, are really good, although they're progressively more digital, more 80s. His first album was Pictures at 11.
Yeah, 1982.
Really good first effort. Principles of Moment, and then Shaken and Stirred. Yeah. Shaken and Stirred is the first one I bought and really listened to. And I just really love that. There's a lot of air between the instruments, a lot of space between things on different songs. A lot of percussive kind of songs, kind of feels to the songs, in and out of the song. So it's pretty interesting to listen to. A lot going on. But all three of those albums are really good, really strong efforts. But of course, it's Robert Plant. He just came off a career with Led Zeppelin, so he's gonna have the chops. But
Shaken Not Stirred was '85 release, had Little by Little on it,
right? Shaken and Stirred, did it have Little by Little? I think that was on the previous album.
Was that the third record? The third record, '85, was the one that had Little by Little.
Is it? Okay, then that was Shaken and Stirred. Okay. I'd have to look it up, but
I think
some people go solo and can just fall flat. But Robert Plant had a really good.
He did
great three albums.
I think Big Log is one of the best songs from the '80s, early '80s.
Yeah,
it just has such a vibe, and the sound quality and production on that is fantastic. And Robbie Blunt's guitar sound and playing is awesome.
Yeah,
that is definitely one of the best '80s songs in my opinion. And he just captured a moment, and it's fantastic.
Yeah,
really good. Yeah, and Peter Phil Collins had quite a bit of involvement on the Pictures at 11 record.
Yeah,
He played
Yeah,
drums
a
on a
few
handful
drums,
of
yeah.
He
tracks.
played on the tour too.
Did he?
Yeah,
All
when
right.
Robert Plant toured North America, Phil
Okay.
Collins played drums for him. I think he did that twice.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I knew that. Maybe I've forgotten that. Well, that's cool. Anything else you've been listening to?
That's about it. You know, the usual. I'm sure there's some Otis Redding in there somewhere.
How about you, Grant?
It's been all mostly solo piano artists. Been listening to Solo Monk, which is a great album. The extended version, which has a lot of more tracks than, they were limited, obviously, way back in the day.
Right.
And with digital, you can hear everything. I just love his playing, Thelonious Monk.
Yeah.
And even solo, it's amazing. And I don't need to say anything else about him. Keith Jarrett, speaking of space, a lot of his compositions have that just openness, even though he's playing. He can be busy if he wants to be, but and I can't remember the recording. I listened to some. He did some with the violinist. I listened to a few tracks, and I believe she was Japanese, and I can't remember the name or the album. But anyway, and he's not really a local artist. He's recorded a couple albums in our town, actually, at a studio in our town. Yeah, and I can't remember if he's based out of this state or down in Atlanta. Chad Lawson is a really good pianist, and this is an album. It's just called Regarding Piano, and he recorded it, but he used different techniques, and he used basically effects. I don't know if he used pedals or rack-mounted effects, but it's not what you think at all. It's another very sparse, it sets a vibe, and you have to be into that vibe to listen to it. It's nothing out there weird. They're great compositions, great melodies, but it's just something different than you would expect from a piano player. To use basically guitar type effects. There might be a scooch of distortion, but it's a lot of reverbs, delay. But the album is Regarding Piano, and it's RE and then 2 dots and then piano. But it's a very, and I pulled that out again. It was a sad time when I first started listening to that album, and I put it aside for a couple of years because it always reminded me of what happened, and I didn't want to think about it. So recently pulled it back out again, and I was like, I can listen to it now without being pulled back to that time, or I can separate it at least. But
that's an interesting conversation right there.
What's his name again?
Chad Lawson.
I'm writing it down.
Any other music you've been listening to?
Not really. There's been splotches here and there, but that was my main. I was just in there's George Winston. He's always solo piano. Anytime solo piano, I pop in some Winston. But I just concentrated, not on purpose. I just found myself gravitating to that this week for some reason. So that's basically it.
Well, let's talk about this for a second. How much listening to music that you might associate with something that's not that pleasant, how do you kind of decide at some point, you know what, I'm going to have to replace that memory with another memory? Is it a cognizant decision, or state of mind, or is it just like, I love this music so much, I'm just going to have to try to replace that, or what is it? Because there's certain songs that take me, I'm sure for all of us, everyone, it takes us right back to that moment. And sometimes you kind of just want to live in a little bit of melancholy or whatever for a moment, but
you can compartmentalize it. You after a certain time, obviously, if the wound is raw, there's no way, regardless of a breakup or a death or whatever, if that memory is always going to be attached to that music. And after, I don't necessarily believe time heals all wounds, but time can be a salve to coat those wounds so they're not so painful. And after an even longer time, like I said, it can be almost wistful. It's not sad anymore. It's just a melancholy.
Right.
But yeah, it's just like life. You have to sometimes, to get through days, you compartmentalize stuff, and you just move forward and put that over there.
Interesting, topic or whatever. Okay, well, let's get into our topic. Little lighter subject matter. We're going to talk about those songs that we either hate, no offense to those who wrote them,
strongly dislike.
Yeah, so we'll see which directions we each go in, or how we think about this.
Now, do you guys have many modern songs on your lists?
I have one in the last 20 years.
The last 20. Okay.
Yeah.
I've got one modern song from a few years ago.
Well, see, that's why you already know that I'm so old school that I don't even listen to much modern music.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go in that direction.
It's easy to complain about modern pop and radio. I mean, whether it's
I could do a Beato and do a Spotify top 10 and go, here we go.
Whether it's pop, R&B, or a hip hop or country, there's so much terrible writing. There's the lyrics on modern releases. What you hear on the radio is so bad.
These are sometimes and do not reflect the views of three guys.
Well, come on. I think we can agree. It's pretty bad sometimes. Sometimes they're just trying to make something rhyme.
You're right.
It seems, but
I concur.
it's a lot of that is forgivable because it's the place for it. It's just top
it's the culture.
Yeah. But some of these songs, it's like, what were you thinking when you wrote these?
Well,
and since
I'll give my 2 cents about my choices.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about it, each selection. So, Mike, you want to go first?
Since I'm running my mouth, I'll start first with the obvious. Having My Baby by Paul Anka is the worst song ever made. It went to number 1 in 1974. It went to number 1.
Ever made.
Having My Baby was even though it went to number 1, is like immediately attacked by being so saccharine, over the top, sentimental, and also sexist. I think Paul Anka won an award from Ms. Magazine for the year's biggest chauvinist, because there's just the connotation of who's singing.
Right.
It's really cheesy. I know my wife rolls her eyes every time that song, if it ever comes on. You don't hear it as much anymore. But one of the lyrics, "The seed inside you, do you feel it growing? Are you happy to know it?" It's like, don't talk about my seed inside her. What's wrong with you? That's just weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a terrible song. But Paul Anka wrote a song that went to number 1. It just had terrible lyrics, and sometimes lyrics don't matter. People just hear a catchy tune, they want to sing along. But right off the bat, as soon as it starts, it's horrible. But
I agree. Yeah, that's pretty rough. I couldn't tell you the last time I heard that song, but I bet I was a kid.
It just has to be.
I can't think of any time I've heard that
happenstance in a Target or something.
Well, I heard that, and I suggested this topic because I heard it when that week I was listening to K-Tel albums.
All right.
And that was either one of them or related to that list. So I got to suffer through it fairly recently.
And now we have to too.
Now you do too.
This was this was kind of a difficult topic to formulate picks, because I don't listen to music that I don't like. I don't think about the stuff that I don't enjoy. So I really this was not natural at all.
Yeah, I thought it would be easy, but it took me some doings. And I want to go next because I want to follow up his year and his saccharineness with more saccharineness, if that's okay with you.
Plenty to go around.
This song, I believe it was 1975, so a year later. It was also number 1, and it was a little ditty called "Loving You" by Minnie Riperton.
Oh, I like that song.
And
Maya Rudolph's mother.
Mother, yes.
Yeah.
I was going to say apologies to Maya. But that song is, again, so saccharine and so.
It is.
And actually, the melody, I did some research because I didn't want to run my mouth without at least saying, wait a minute, am I wrong about this?
This time.
Exactly. I didn't want to just go off the handle and without knowing, okay, maybe there was some other thing behind this song that I don't know about and blah, blah, blah. So originally the melody was something they used to keep Maya quiet as a baby. Whatever it is. And I was like, oh, so it's literally a nursery rhyme that you put lyrics to. And it's just so sappy. And I can't believe I saw the lists it was in as like greatest love songs of 50 greatest love. I was like, are y'all crazy? I mean, come on. It's just so sappy and so
well,
whatever.
this is where this is sort of interesting. I don't think it's the worst song ever.
Well, I don't think it's the worst song ever, but
I don't think it's a great song, but I don't think it's that bad. So that's interesting how our tastes are different. And that's why I was interested in this topic or this, because it'll be interesting where we all go because, I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's something I want to listen to that often, but
yeah, it's not the worst song ever. Not like Michael's Choice.
But, I love it,
but it's it's just
so. I would rather listen to that.
South Park made fun of it, and I make fun of it.
Some of the other songs from that period of time I dislike more.
Now she was a great singer, amazing range. I'm not putting this on her. I'm just saying this song. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the song was actually written about and for Maya Rudolph.
Mm-hmm.
That's who the song was made for. So So for those who didn't know. Okay, so my first choice is something that I heard when I was about 13, and the record store that I was helping out. And I say working in, but that would have been illegal. But I was sort of working there.
You're getting free records.
I was earning, my
music
through music, legally. But the song is by Napoleon the 14th. They're coming to take me away, haha. And I remember hearing that for the first time. I was like, "What drugs am I on? What is this? What am I sniffing that I don't realize that I'm sniffing?" And I wasn't on any drugs, everybody.
Is there a gas leak in the building?
Yeah, something. Is there anybody got any glue out around?
Who spiked my Mountain Dew?
Yeah, I couldn't believe that the song was real. I thought, but when you're that young and that's something, I think that song came out in 1966, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty awful.
Thankfully, I can't remember it at all, so I'm not going to look it up.
It's really, really bad. But it's a novelty song. So
yeah, exactly.
You have these type of songs, you have to put it in a perspective. Even for a novelty song, I don't think it's very good. I think it's among the worst. There's other songs that I think well, I was going to name a song, but I won't, just in case it's one of our lists. A song from the early 80s that I never really thought too much of, but it's not terrible. But anyway, that's my first choice.
Well, novelty songs are, generally it's something fun you could sing along with. That song isn't really something you'd want to break out into.
It sort of sounds like you really are on your way to an asylum.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what the song's about.
It's
and it
pretty
kind
silly.
of, anybody that would enjoy listening to that, I would really wonder about them.
That's a red flag.
It's not even musical. It's just over the top. Ridiculous.
I wonder if that charted back in 66. Do you know?
It did chart because Jim Wershing had a single of it. He played it. So I don't think it was so obscure that nobody heard it. I think it was, where it got to, I couldn't tell you. I didn't do my research to say what it chart position, but it was common enough and goofy enough that people heard it. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
Terrible.
Well,
I know I've heard it, but I can't remember it. So thank God.
Yeah, you might have some nightmares tonight if you did.
Well, another song. The 70s was apparently full of bad songs.
It was
just bad lyrics. I'm not going to say it's a bad song because it's hummable. Torn Between Two Lovers. by Mary McGregor. Just saying, hey, I love you, but there's this guy who just rocks my world, and I don't want to leave you, but he's got something going on. It's like, what are you trying to tell this guy?
What does he have going on?
I mean,
what might it be?
Feeling like a fool. It's like, yeah, because you didn't even think through what you're telling your husband or boyfriend about this affair you're having. It's terrible. Mary McGregor admitted later on that she did not like the song just because the protagonist is not, it's not someone you can be sympathetic with.
Right.
So I heard that recently too. And it's a good song, but the lyrics, if you think too much about them, it's like, this woman is terrible. What is wrong with you? It's the worst way to break the news of an affair.
I think that should be an episode that we should have in the future, like something that's got amazing music, but maybe the worst lyrics ever, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Because I don't listen to the lyrics of songs, and I don't judge a song by the lyrics, which is probably not normal.
Well, what do you think of that song? I mean, it's got a good melody, right?
He's a melody guy
going on.
Honestly, if I'm just completely honest, I don't even remember that song.
Oh yeah.
I don't know that I've heard that song in so long that I can't hum it in my head. I cannot hear it in my head. So I'm just going to have to take your word for it. I don't remember that song.
I'm not singing anymore for you. We'll lose viewers.
I don't remember it. So I'm coming clean here.
Yeah. Mary McGregor.
I do remember the title. I remember the title, and I remember her as an artist.
Oh, I don't
remember
have the
that
date.
song.
I think that was 76 that came out. I don't know. The Torn Between Two Lovers is just terrible subject matter.
I'm going to have to revisit it, but I do not own that one, and I have not got that on any collections that I can just say, let me check this out. I don't know the last time I heard that song. I might have been the age that song came out the last time I heard it. So it's been a minute. All right, Grant.
All right. Speaking of terrible lyrics,
let's go.
This is a song by a band named after a hairstyle and a bomber, an American bomber plane in the U.S. Air Force, the B-52s, Rock Lobster. It sucks.
It's the best.
It sucks.
Terrible.
Grant and I are going to arm wrestle in just a minute.
This is so interesting.
It's so kitschy, and the lyrics are so terrible. It's terrible.
It's fun.
It's terrible. Fun. It's fun, terrible. It's terrible fun.
Yeah. I thought we might have some disagreements on this. I can't even support your decision in this. I just think it's a fun song. It's musically sort of interesting.
Better fun songs.
It is ridiculous lyrically, but I don't judge it on those merits. The thing I like about it is the energy, and I like the fact that it's got interesting music sounds. Like the guitar sound was so unique at the time. It was so garage, but it was kind of like hi-fi garage.
Yeah.
It didn't sound like 13-year-olds just playing. It sounded like somebody that knew how to play, but he had this sound that was so just anti what was current. And that was really appealing to me. So there's things about it I think that are really cool, but it's, trying to tell somebody, older than you or younger than you, Rock Lobster, they're going to go, what? I get that part of it. I just have to accept that on its own merits,
Yeah. Well, it's a great album, that whole album, every song on it. But if you're looking for intellectual lyrics, you're not going to find it there, because it is
never
just
really could do that anyway.
Yeah.
I think the lyrics were definitely an afterthought or a unthought, and they just spewed out what popped in their head, like stream of consciousness.
I mean, songs like "Give Me Back My Man," where she sings, "I'll give you fish, I'll give you candy, just give me back my man, give me fish." You'll give me fish? But what's the incentive here? What kind of
fish?
You like the absurdity.
How expensive is this? A tuna?
Yeah.
Like
Is this salmon?
really expensive
So
tuna.
Sashimi grade salmon.
Quiche Lorraine is on that album. I mean, all the songs are just wacky, but I love it. What a great album.
Oh,
I still think Private
Great.
Idaho is still my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
That's off the next record, right? That was off the 80 release, Wild Planet.
I don't recall. I get those two mixed up.
Yeah.
But,
I think Rock Lobster was on the debut.
Yeah.
I think 79. All right. We'll just have to disagree on that, Grant. But I respect your opinion anyway.
I respect your disagreeing.
Well, I know you said this actually a while back that wasn't something.
Yeah.
We were talking about Mesopotamia. And I think they came up because I was listening at the time. And we were talking. Oh, you went to go see. Well, maybe I saw a live clip of the B-52s, and you just made the comment that not a huge fan.
Yeah.
So I respect that. My next choice, and I did do these in chronological order. I'm so predictable. Wild Honey Pie by the Beatles.
Oh my.
One of the weirdest tracks.
Trademarked.
One of the weirdest tracks they ever did, certainly. And one of the most unmusical tracks they ever did. I don't think it was meant to be taken seriously. It was just something they put on the White Album. But it's not grown in my fondness through all these years. I don't really see anything worthwhile in listening to it personally. Somebody could debate me and tell me why it does deserve to be taken seriously, but
it won't be me.
I don't think it's going to be that way. Now, our friend Sam is a huge Beatles fan. He might try to educate me on the merits of it, but until that happens, I'm going to stick to my guns. I do not like it.
You won't find disagreement here tonight.
No, just the opposite of my choice. We're all in agreement that it's not that good.
Yeah, no detractors.
From one song tears us all apart, and another song brings us all together.
Well, that might be, that might be one of those just a filler song, or the White Album was full of experimentation, I think.
Probably one of the first records that I think there were at least. I don't think this is the prevailing thought now, but I think that was probably one of the first double records by a really big artist that I can think of. And I'm sure that many people thought this for quite a while, that why did you put that stuff on there? Why didn't you just take all that stuff and put the best songs on there, and then it would have been one of the greatest songs ever, or greatest records ever?
Yeah.
It is what it is. It's the White Album. It's got a lot of wonderful tracks on it. But yeah, when I have a compilation or a playlist that I put together for that record, it's not on it. So yeah. I don't want to listen to that, or I don't want to subject anybody else listening to it. Personally. Rather listen to Rocky Raccoon.
That's right. Well, the Beatles were always pushing the boundaries.
Yeah.
Foreigner, on the other hand,
this is going to get ugly. This is going to get ugly.
I'm going to catch some flack because Brent is a big Foreigner fan. So if you're watching this, settle down. I can explain. I love Foreigner. Their early stuff, Cold as Ice, Feels Like the First Time, Long Way from Home. Great songs. But, listening to music during the day, and Foreigner comes on with the song Women. Oh, and some songs are just so lazy.
It's a weird song.
When you're singing about describing the women that you like, your preferred choice, what you like in a woman. The song starts out, women behind bars, women in fast cars.
Yeah.
Let's back up a bit. Women behind bars is your first choice.
He just needed to rhyme with cars, and I think he got some help from the B-52s.
That's the first thing they could, maybe let's put that a few lines down, but women behind bars.
I got you.
Grant, what do you like in a woman? I like redheads.
I like brunettes.
I like women with a history of incarceration. Arsonists are on the top of my list.
Incarcerated brunettes.
What are you talking about? Women behind bars. It doesn't get any better from that. It's like, let's just throw these lyrics in and we'll, as a guide track, and we'll come up with something later. No, that went right to the album. I mean, come on, guys.
Lyrically, this song is pretty awful, but musically,
it's terrible.
I've always loved it.
Yeah,
and
I'll tell you
why.
It's a fun rocker, but man,
yeah, it's off of Head Games from 1979 for anyone who doesn't know. And I really enjoy that record. That record has some iffy songs. Maybe that was one of them. I do like it, but musically, I like it. They were really having fun with the song, I think. I don't think it was meant to be taken very seriously.
Well, now that, since I've thought about it, now that song starts and I hear that first line, I'm going to hear, there we go.
Right.
I can't get past it until, but it is a good rocking song. It's a fun song, but
it
the lyrics
starts
are just
out with
terrible.
a Gretsch guitar, a really slinky, it's very different than Mick Jones' typical sound or foreigner sound. And then when the chorus, or maybe it's actually a verse, he really just slams into the Les Paul through the Marshall, and it's really meaty sounding, and I really love that.
Yeah.
Difference in tone. So musically, I like it a lot. And there are some of my favorite songs by the band on that record. So whole, as a whole, I like the record a lot. But Rev on the Red Line might be one of my very favorite songs. But
I'm getting ready to say that.
Yeah.
And that's a good
song.
That's the album closer, right?
I think so.
Yeah, that's a perfect song.
It's a great track.
The end of the album. Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I'll accept that. Women lyrically it's rough.
A song like that makes me advise read the lyrics to your bandmates without the music.
Just read them.
Just read them out loud.
That's the best thing you do with lyrics anyway. Is just read it.
Maybe the drummer wrote this lyrics.
Maybe.
Jamey? Michael? What the heck? Why are you down on drummers?
Just saying, man. Could have been.
Maybe the guitarist wrote the lyrics.
It could have been. I don't know who wrote the lyrics to that. I'm just going to say Lou Gramm didn't write them, but maybe he did write them.
Let's say the bass player wrote them.
Yeah. Isn't that the case?
No, he was a new member. He didn't write them. No. All right, Grant. What's up?
Let's see. Who am I? Who am I? What am I doing?
Whose feelings are you going to hurt now?
I'm going to hurt everyone's feelings because I'm going to mention Elvis.
You're not going to hurt my feelings.
The original title of this song was called "The Vicious Circle." Can you guess what it's going to be?
I do not know.
I do not know.
Mac Davis wrote the song in the ghetto.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And I think it's a terrible song because, yes, it draws attention to a plight of America, but it doesn't offer anything else. And okay, take advantage of someone's bad way in life, bad things happening to them, and make a song about it and earn money off of it. And then don't do anything to help anybody or do anything. I just think it's a terrible song.
It is really overly sentimental. Another sentimental song.
Yeah, it's like we want to feel we feel bad, but we'll capitalize on feeling bad, and then we're not going to offer. A very wise person told me at their job, they don't ever go to their boss with a problem unless they have a couple of solutions. They don't want to present and just complain and be like, this is this. They also go to their boss and have a solution or two to at least get the ball rolling and think of a solution. And I know you can't do that in a 3-minute song, but at least don't just say everything's bad and the whole cycle is going to happen again. And then, you're not going to even suggest something that could be done about it, or that how things could maybe get better. You're not even going to offer a little glimmer of hope in the song. No, get out of here with that crap.
Yeah. Not my favorite. I'm not a huge Elvis person. Shocker. I totally respect what that individual did. Elvis is a legend, of course, and a great singer for certain things. I think Jailhouse Rock is maybe my favorite song of his. And that's an amazing track. Was that 57 maybe? That is an amazing performance vocal. as well, you know, we all know kind of how Elvis.
We all know the story.
Yeah, 68 comeback special. I want to say In the Ghetto was the following year in 69, I think.
Yeah, it was on the comeback album, whatever.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But maybe it was a single put out in 69 then. So,
yeah,
I think it was so. 69.
Yeah.
Not my favorite, you know, era. Not my favorite vocal by him. It does sound schmaltzy. It doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
But I'm not really looking for a song to give me how to solve problems either. So I can't condemn it for that reason.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, there's just not even a little glimmer of hope or anything. It's just like, it's like writing a song about a current event where people are dying and then not even saying, well, it might get better.
I just imagine the very last lyric, stop having babies.
Oh my. Well, that's the 68 comeback special you mentioned.
Thank you very much, everyone. We'll see you next time.
We've lost Jamey. The 68 special, if you get a chance to watch that he really shows the charisma
now that's
what Elvis was.
The video of that. That's a great
that's
thing.
a great show. It's a lot of fun. But In the Ghetto, I mean, it is schmaltzy and it's like, what are you trying to say? And the chorus, In the Ghetto, and then the backup singers replying In the Ghetto, over and over again. It's like,
how successful was this song? Do you know what the chart?
It was
pretty popular. I don't know.
I forgot. Did it get in the top 10? Do you have any idea? I don't know.
I want to say it did.
Wow. You think
I wouldn't doubt it
because it was Elvis?
Yeah, and he was coming back, and everybody's like, "Ooh, Elvis!"
And Paul Anka heard that song and said, "I could better that."
Yes, he did.
Having my baby.
I would rather listen to "Ode to Billy Joe" than that song. That's how much I dislike that song. So I'm with you, Grant.
I got you.
Do you dislike "Ode to Billy Joe"?
I don't hate it. It sets a mood, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's authentic sounding. So
yeah.
But that I like about it.
Yeah.
Not in a playlist that I currently listen to, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're my next choice. We're jumping 12 years. 12 years? Oh, 22 years. To 1990. Iron Maiden. Holy smoke. One of the worst songs of their career.
Enlighten me.
Arguably on their last record, the record that I think is maybe their worst record as well. No Prayer for the Dying. I was a huge Iron Maiden fan and still am. I saw them live on the Peace of Mind tour and the Power Slave tour, and they were incredible. And I'm glad I got to see them during that period of time. But Adrian Smith had left in 89, I think, maybe, 89, and just didn't like the direction they were going in. He thought that they should keep going in the direction they had been from the previous record, the Seventh Son, which was very progressive.
Mm-hmm.
He thought they were going in the right trajectory, and Steve Harris had different plans. And he said, I'm not on board with this. So I think he made the right decision. That was not a great era for the band, but that's a pretty rotten song. The lyrics it sounds like Slade. And I like Slade. That's not what I wanted from Iron Maiden. And you go from, it's like, it's almost like if you had Jethro Tull at their peak, or Thick as a Brick or whatever. And then they came out with, I don't know.
There's no comparison.
Yeah. It's just like Talk Dirty to Me. It's almost like that. I mean, and
it's like Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, and then this way down here.
It's just too radical of a shift. Talk Dirty to Me is a fine song. So
I'm a Poison fan.
Yeah, I like Poison for what they are. Yeah. So it just doesn't work for me. So that's and I also didn't want to just go through the list of top 40 songs that were terrible, because there's a lot that we could mention.
Oh yeah.
These were very personal to me that I just simply do not like, and I had to do that. I had to personalize it, because if I had to just choose all these songs, we might overlap possibly, but they're not songs that I listen to often enough or have strong enough feelings about. I'd say, okay, maybe they're terrible. I don't listen to them. So it's not that I don't agree with it, but these songs I genuinely do not like.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the next two I really do not like. The fourth one might be number one that I really, really never ever liked. So, can't wait to tell you about that one.
Can't wait.
Yeah,
well, last week when we talked about this, I gave an example of Christine 16 by Kiss. And from that time, that's a great rocking song. Still is. I listen to it and it's fun to rock out to, but don't listen to the lyrics.
Right.
Don't listen to the lyrics. The lyrics are terrible. I mean, how old did you say they were when they wrote this song, Jamey?
Let's see. Gene was born in 49. He would have been 27, almost 28.
27. Almost 30 years old, singing about a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
Watching her coming out of the school. The line that runs shivers down my spine every time I hear it is, she's been around, but she's young and clean. Ooh, stop.
Imagine if
call the police.
Put that song out now.
It's like, what are you talking about? Oh, it's the creepiest damn song.
Yeah, I think back on, I was 10 when that came out.
Yeah.
I didn't have any perspective back then. And I accepted it just as what it was through, the years following.
Yeah, if you're 10.
If you were 15 or 18 years old, I'm not even sure you would have been a Kiss fan, first of all. If you were 18 back when that came out, you might have been.
Yeah.
Musically, probably not, but maybe just for the fun of it. Maybe you would say, yeah, that's fun. But musically, you probably go, this is pretty awful. But I'd love to talk to somebody who was around back then that heard that and go, what? Because I'm sure that, can you imagine being around and being old enough and having some real perspective back then?
Yeah.
You couldn't have possibly have taken it seriously, because it is pretty rough.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the only creeper song on my list, but it's pretty obvious.
All right.
No matter how good the song is, some lyrics just make you stop and scratch your head or dial 911, depending on your mood.
If I was going to try to tell somebody how great Kiss could be, or the greatest things about the band, and there are some great tracks that I would like. Detroit Rock City is a great example to show somebody or let them hear it.
Yeah.
There are some great tracks. That wouldn't be one of them.
No.
And maybe just subliminally, I would think, this is not appropriate for me to try to, certainly not a young person, but even an older person, to try to say, they were great, at one time. Yeah, I don't think I would probably put that song on and try to convince them.
You might be judged yourself if you're trying to introduce someone.
Listen to this.
You think this is good? So you really think this is good, huh?
Open up.
What's that sound? Oh, that's that red flag waving in the wind.
I'm Chris Hansen. Knock, knock, knock.
I'm going to write your name on a list for the future. Yeah, keep that tab on you, sir. All right, Grant, what's up?
Let's see. I'm going to go with a song. Let me preface it. The song, the live version, is really good. It's amazing. It's a staple of
I know what this is.
Classic rock, as you would say.
I know what this is.
And the album version is terrible. It sounds like a very bad demo. There's hardly any guitar, and there's some hokey stuff going on in the chorus with some snaps or some tambourines or something. I don't know. I just can't listen to it. But it's "I Want You to Want Me" by Cheap Trick.
This was what it was. 1977 in color record.
Color, yes. And I'm like, what were they thinking in the studio? Or were they just not thinking at all? And like, oh, this is good. It's like a like when a band says, you know, I want to cover this song, or not even a band, a person, and you're like, well, how do I want to cover it? Okay, let me get out my guitar, let me learn the chords, let me go through, okay, the melody, this, the chord, this, and you know, you might work it up a couple of different ways to see how it sounds and how it feels. You might have a slow version, a faster version, you might have a rockabilly version, you might have a metal version, just to see which one would be kind of cool. They didn't. They just led. We're just going to make the most tame, almost
anemic.
quiet. Yes, quiet. no, nothing to it. No meat to it at all. Yeah.
Okay.
And
I've got a comment though. Just whenever you
go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, I'm done. I'm done. I'm just saying.
Tom Werman is probably as responsible for anyone, and I like some Tom Werman stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it, not so much, but I like plenty of what he did, so I don't really have any problem with him. I actually just read his autobiography or listened to it, audiobook. Yeah. He's really passionate about music, and he had his own decisions and you know, ideas about things. I don't know that I think he's largely responsible for that arrangement. And I think that I know that the band actually they can't even talk about each other legally. They had to go to court because he sued them. Because I think I'm correct on that.
I know there was a lawsuit.
They badmouthed him, you know, said a lot of bad things about him, and they had Steve Albini re-record In Color, which is, I think it's available on YouTube, but it was never like officially released. But they wanted to hear what it would have sounded like if it was rawer. But you know, it's fine like it is. There are some amazing tracks on In Color. That one didn't work.
It didn't. And I don't know how they didn't hear that it didn't work. I mean,
well, they may have not been happy with it, but when you're a band that has a limited budget, and I don't know how much influence Tom Werman had.
Company decision.
He was not only a producer, he was part of Epic Records. He did have some say so he might have leaned on them and said, you know, no, we're going to go with this. I don't know, but
now live it's great.
Oh yeah, it's
no
fantastic
with it,
track.
You know? Yeah.
It's but the songs that are on that record, which a Big Eyes I think is on it. The Down.
Yeah,
that's got some great Hello there or Hello.
Yeah, those are great songs. Yeah. And I just with Cheap Trick being such a and I don't mean this in a pejorative way, a grungy before grunge, streetwise type rough band, and then you record that version and like, how does this work with that image? And what I mean, they're on motorcycles, you know, they're on Harleys on the cover of the album and the back cover, you know, trying to be tough and rough and tumble. And then how does even a producer go, this is the image the band is known for and trying to convey, and yet here we have this tame, lame version of this song, you know?
Well, the previous record, the debut, was recorded by or produced by Jack Douglas, very well respected, and Jack Douglas was also the one that did Budokan. And I read somewhere where he said that wasn't a Budokan concert, it was Osaka.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the answer is there, but
regardless, well, it just came across as a throwaway pop song, you know. The energy is so much better on the live album. And Roy Thomas Baker, he recorded Dream Police. Is that right?
He recorded One on One.
I thought he worked with them earlier.
Tom Werman's last release was Dream Police, and then George Martin of the Beatles did the following record, All Shook Up.
Right.
Which is that was the first record that I personally ever got. Dream Police was right before I started helping out at the record store, and it wasn't something that I bought new. I got it later, but All Shook Up was what I got that when it came out, and so it's special to me for that reason. But I do think there are some amazing tracks on that record.
Yeah,
but actually, something that's on One on One by Roy Thomas Baker almost made my list as the worst song ever.
Oh yeah, which one is that?
I Want Be Man.
Oh yeah.
Pretty awful.
Well, I mean, it's
it is, that's just my opinion, of course.
It's sung from the viewpoint of a robot. So
Right.
I think it's right up there with Mr. Roboto.
See, man, I love that song.
Yeah.
See, I think Mr. Roboto, I think it has aged very well, and I think it's really musical. So I don't have any issues with that.
Well, I like the music, but lyrically, both songs are a little, Mr. Roboto is a little silly.
Michael doesn't like robots.
I don't like robots.
I guess I love robots.
Take your automaton away from me.
I just don't like Chipmunk's robot. Yeah. Anyway.
Anyways.
So I guess I'm up next, right?
You are.
Yep.
My next choice is a hit. It was a hit. Definitely a video hit in the summer of '91. And I never liked this song, ever.
Is it Cher?
Oh. The singer of this band went on to be a very successful songwriter for Britney Spears, I think Christina Aguilera, and the like. Linda Perry is her name.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
very talented individual. But the song is as awful as anything that I can ever remember. I hate it. I think
strangely,
I really hate it.
If this comes on the radio, I listen to it.
Oh God,
it's weird because it's not my favorite song. I don't really like it. I've never queued it up and said play. But if it's just randomly, if I'm scrolling through the actual radio stations and it's in the middle of the song somewhere, I'm just like, I want to listen to this. It's the strangest thing. It's the strangest thing.
And the name of the tune?
Let's not even say the name.
What's going on? It's awful. 4 Non-Blondes. It's just not something that I ever enjoyed. I try to see the good things, and so it's called "What's Up," right? But it says "What's going on" in the song.
Yeah, that's the tag, the key.
But it's just not a good song, in my opinion. And I give Linda Perry credit. I don't even think musically it's very interesting. There's nothing about it that I enjoy. And the chorus, I think, is awful. Musically, it bores me to death. It just sounds like 4 people that got together 6 months ago and got lucky and recorded a record.
I think that's what happened.
And the other thing that I really disliked was the attire in that video. It was like that period of time. It was like what Wizard of Oz. That's what it reminded me of, like Wizard of Oz stuff.
And Alice in Wonderland.
It was awful.
Yeah.
It was like, there was nothing authentic about it.
Now, we'll say
nothing that rang true to me as being authentic. It just seemed
when it came out, I did not like it. I did not listen to it then, which is strange now. Like I said, if it's on radio, I'm like, I'll just listen to the rest of this. It's weird. Maybe it's a nostalgia of me not liking it.
Mm-hmm.
I understand.
I like it okay. I can't say that I'll go to my way to listen to it, but I wouldn't turn it off if it came on. But I don't really have a problem with it. It certainly stands out as a different song. It's very in your face. The way
that's probably why it was successful, because
the way she belts out every line, But I can see where it would be annoying to a degree.
Yeah, to a large degree. Yeah,
to a large degree.
Just not something I enjoy.
Yes, like I said, when it came out, I was not a fan. I was like, "Oh, turn that."
Yeah, it's not age.
Like,
I mean, I would. That happened 33 years ago.
Oh wow, 33.
Well, it was 91, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, some songs might age. Like we were just talking about Tom Petty. I didn't like that when it came out. I really have turned a new leaf and enjoy that. It's just a different kind of Tom Petty record. That'll never happen with this song. There's just no redeeming quality for me. I don't see anything even slightly good about it. Nothing.
Yeah.
But that's, I would never try to say it's the worst song ever, although I might say that in private. I just do not enjoy it. So that is my 4th choice.
Speaking of unredeeming songs. Can we talk? Would this list be complete without the Black Eyed Peas? And
which one though?
You and your lovely lady lumps. I mean, it is objectively horrible. I mean, what woman sings about herself like that? It's just horrible. And I'm sure,
Mike, I have to stop you for a second. Didn't we not see the Black Eyed Peas back in the 90s when we were in a band together? Weren't they like in a different formation? Wasn't I with you that I went to go see? That was at Somewhere Else Tavern. So. You don't remember that?
At the Somewhere Else Tavern.
They were in a previous incarnation before they were big. I can't remember what it was though.
I don't remember why I would have went unless you dragged me along, because I would not have chosen to go to that.
We must have gone to see someone else, and they were there.
Maybe that's what it was. I think this was in '94. I'm
really
almost positive you were with me. I do not remember will.i.am being there, but I'm almost positive the other guy, one of the other members of the band, he's got a very identifiable look. I'm almost positive he was on stage that night.
I must have blocked that out emotionally. I don't know.
Maybe he was in another band. And
maybe I created this whole fantasy, but I could have sworn that we saw them in the mid 90s before they ever took off.
I'm kind of upset that you put me in that fantasy. That's not what I want to be associated with.
I wouldn't call it a fantasy. Really?
It's a recollection.
It wasn't a nightmare.
It possibly didn't happen.
It would definitely have been a nightmare. The Black Eyed Peas, they're terrible. And lovely lady lumps. I don't even know if that's the name of the song. I just wrote it down.
That's
something about humps and lumps, and I don't know. It's I just want to stop talking about it. It's horrible.
It is what it is. I would not rate it as awful. Lyrically, I understand where you're going with that. Musically, it's a typical song of the type.
Like I previously said, when What's Up comes on the radio, and I'm like, I'll leave it. If that comes on the radio, I'm like, turn that crap right now.
I'll just ride in silence for a while.
Yes.
For the next 3 minutes.
Say Fergalicious.
No.
I mean, pretty interchangeable.
One of my classmates when I was in school, in my later career, my current career, I won't name. She used to come to class every day saying, Fergalicious, Fergalicious. And I was like, what are you talking about? What is that? Oh, it's a song, Fergalicious. I will never forget that. That was the fall of 2006.
I'm sorry. I feel bad for you.
Well, it has not kept me up at night. So,
but I'm putting in my memory right now. Next time I see you in person. Next time I see you in person. Fergalicious.
Fergalicious. Fergalicious. Okay. So you're next, so right, Grant?
My turn. It's the last one, correct?
This is the last one.
Sure. Working our way down the list.
All right. This is a song by a band that Jamey likes, and I believe Michael likes them as well. I love them. And they're named after a spy plane, even though they might not have named themselves after the spy plane. But it's a little band out of Ireland called U2.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a song called American Soul.
I don't know the song.
And I only know this song because I listen to complete albums.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get this wrong because it was when they released Songs of Experience and Songs of Innocence. I think this is on Songs of Experience. This is like, imagine, take a moment, take a breath. Imagine if you took the worst White Stripes riff that Jack White could ever write for the verses. And then imagine the worst Black Keys riff for the chorus. And then imagine Bono having some really over-explaining lyrics when he should have just left it abstract and then let you think about the meaning and then put that all together and you have that song.
Wow. That's a lot.
It's terrible.
That's a lot for me to imagine.
Try. I was gonna, and it's funny you said imagine because I was gonna say, you know how the song Imagine has very heavy meaning, but also it's abstract. John Lennon does not try to explain what he's thinking. He just gives you few little pieces, and you do the rest. This is the opposite. Bono, instead of giving you a few little pieces of his idea of American soul, he tries to explain everything, and it's like the lyrics are like ridiculous, and I'm like, Bono, no. But anyway, if you want to torture yourself for 5 minutes or something, go listen to it. It's horrible, and it's like, no, that's not American soul, Bono.
I don't recall ever hearing it. I can't comment on it. But it is funny today that I've been thinking about songwriting, and one, off of Octung Baby.
Oh yeah, that's fantastic.
I was listening to several versions of that and really enjoying it, and how they played it differently, through the years. And I still think the studio version is the best. But what I was going to say was that they did a Tiny Desk concert on NPR, just Bono and the Edge. And Edge had a couple acoustics, and he had a little orange amp that so it would be loud enough for everybody. And it was great. They just did their thing. But, it's just, they really are great songwriters. So it's interesting that this song
this was a miss, for sure.
It doesn't check any of the boxes for you.
They've only had a few misses. I mean, even their songs that aren't that great are okay,
right?
But this is a complete miss. American Soul, and it's just no.
All right. Well, hopefully Bono is not listening.
Sorry,
we'll be listening to this.
We love you, lad, but no.
And I do want
Bono, put your rebuttal in the comments.
We want your rebuttal in your comments. Yes. Okay. My last choice is from the very quiet band Metallica. This is from, I think, what most people would consider the worst record. And I dislike this song incredibly. It's from Saint Anger, 2003. The song is called Frantic. Frantic, tock, tick, tock, frantic, tick, tock. It's truly horrific. It doesn't sound good, but the band were, I'm sure I've heard a remix or somebody did a
redo.
Yeah, I forget what it was.
Was Bob Rock still in the band then?
Yeah,
because that was their problem.
He played bass on this record.
Yeah, that was their problem.
Well, Bob Rock is not a terrible producer. Is that what you're saying?
No, but when he joined,
well,
he didn't really join. I know, but that was a mistake.
I don't think he tried to push his way into it. He was trying to get the band to make a complete record. So I don't hold it responsible. I just think the band, you've got Lars, who's a very powerful personality, and that was a very tumultuous time. I guess from the movie Some Kind of Monster, they really struggled during the making of that record and almost broke up. I guess, or as close as they ever were to stopping. And it was it was just not a good time for the band. But musically, they were trying to discover who they were, and they were trying to be authentic to who they were at that time. And it's got one of the worst drum sounds ever, in my opinion. But I'm sure at that time it probably made sense. But
when you don't know what you're doing and you're having mental problems, it makes sense.
Well, that's another topic. Like, when you're in the machine, you're a band that's
you can't hear yourself sometimes.
Well, it's not just about you creating a product and doing the things that you like to do. When a band becomes that large, they have people on the payroll. They have a tour that the management's probably already.
Yeah, they're chomping at the bit. Let's get the.
Well, not only that, but there's things put into place. So there's pressure on you to complete a project.
Yeah.
And it's not as easy as just like, well, I'm not really happy with this. Like, I heard Geddy Lee talk about when they were, got back together and did the Vapor Trails.
Yeah.
None of them were happy with the way that record came out. They got it remixed like 10 years later, and it sounds much better. But they were never happy with it. They couldn't get it the way they felt like it should be. And it was, your back's against the wall. There's a tour booked. You've got to keep the machine going. The parts are moving. You got to keep going. So it's not always easy. When things, sometimes they come together wonderfully, but sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
But you can't stop. So, that part of it, it's really easy for me as a critic to say that's not very good. But being within that circle and all the stuff that was going around, I'm sure it was much more difficult at the time for them to be objective about it.
Oh yeah, it was almost impossible to rein in at times, I'm sure.
Yeah, but it was not. I don't think it's a successful record. And I want to say the following record they did was the collaboration with Lou Reed, Lulu, I think.
Yeah, was that
maybe that was
the one after?
Maybe that was they did Death Magnetic and then did Lulu. But
I think that's the way it went. Yeah. I can't remember.
But you have to take chances in a band where you're going to get bored, and like I said, it's not a commentary on whether I like Metallica or not. I do like Metallica, but I'm not somebody who's going to listen to them all the time. But I can be objective about when I say that just does not work.
Mm-hmm. And same thing with Maiden, like you mentioned the Maiden song. It's you got these songs here, and then you come out with this. I'm like,
Well, it would be interesting for people to put themselves in that place, of an artist that when you reach a certain level of popularity, you can either, like the Stones, tour whenever they want to, and I guess they could get anybody to come join their tour.
Oh yeah,
it's guaranteed. They don't really have a crew, but Maiden, for example, and maybe Metallica. I'm sure Metallica. I know they have people on the payroll that they just pay year round. That've been with them forever. There's a handful of people. Their sound guy and a couple other people I know are with them all the time. So those people have to be paid, something. They have to be paid a retainer, and that's just the way it is. They value their services enough to keep them around. Maiden had a very loyal crew. They had people like that. So if they took 2 years off, those people were getting paid, but then again, you have a band like Rush. Rush would be another band that had a very
same crew, especially live crew.
But I want to say Howard Ungerleider, their lighting director, did a Def Leppard tour in between Rush tours. He was really well respected in that arena, no pun intended. And so if you've got the time to do something like that, awesome, but whatever your main bread and butter, they come calling, that's where you're going. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I don't know what it would be like to be in that position, to have that kind of pressure on you and people can talk about sophomore jinx, which is a real thing.
Yeah.
But, when you have an artist that reaches a certain level of popularity, I can't think of any band that has maintained. Rush may be as closest to that as anybody. I think those guys always maintain a level of integrity that, and you could say maybe Dream Theater as well. I think that they were really influenced by that integrity, and maybe Tool. There's not that many bands that maintained they're going to do the best possible art for themselves as much as it's about product.
Yeah, they don't, and they have big gaps between albums too, or more so than, like you said, the Machine. It's time for another tour. It's time for another album.
Well, like I said, you've got to pay people, so if you have a lot of people on the payroll, it's a big deal when something happens and you can't tour or do anything for 6 months or maybe a year. There's a lot of money going out. And unless you have a really, you have a ton of money, where you can pay these people a comfortable existence, I don't know. That'd be a lot of pressure. You'd feel like, well, I don't really know if I love this, but we've got to put it out.
Yeah, we have to do it. Yeah.
That's an article that I would love to read by somebody doing research with a band. It's like, can you revisit that period of time in your career? How much pressure were you under?
Yeah. And why,
Well, we could talk about a lot of bands, but I know the Stones, when they did Tattoo You, they knew that they were going to tour. At that point in their career, they were doing a tour every 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And they knew they were going to tour for that record. And they were under pressure to put it out. And they had to go get material from the early 70s and kind of redo it. Like Start Me Up was recorded in 73. The vocals were new at the time, but the riff was all old.
Mm-hmm.
There was 2 or 3 or 4 tracks on that record. That Waiting for a Friend was, I think, recorded in 73 or 74.
Mm-hmm.
And they had to reinvent them, but they did a brilliant job with it. But they didn't have a lot of new material to work with. So you have to do what you have to do. But yeah, they were under pressure. And personally, I think Tattoo You is one of my favorite Stones records.
Yes, it definitely works.
Yeah, they did a great job with it. But anyway, you talk about, the machinery. Joni Mitchell mentions that song, Free Man in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she's talking about, folks. Caught in the machine. You got to put out product.
Yeah,
get
it's
people
a job.
breathing down your neck. You got to put out a record, people. You got to put out a record. So that would be a whole interesting, situation to experience one of these days, or talk to somebody who's been through it. But a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Well, I hope everyone enjoyed our picks. We had some fun with it. Mostly, I'd say we agreed on our choices with some lively discussion in between, I think.
Boys and girls, if we missed anything obvious that was terrible, put it down in the comments. Let us know.
Yes.
We didn't even get to talk about Kanye. So there's plenty of bad music out there.
Oh, boy. There were a few that we could have talked about that we didn't get to, of course.
I'm sure there are lots.
All right, folks. We will see you next week. As always, please like and subscribe. It truly, truly helps us out. We really appreciate your support, and we will see you back when we get back. Thanks so much.
All right.
See you guys.